My beloved child, be still within your heart and listen with your soul. For what I am about to speak to you is not born of mortal intellect, but is a decree sent forth from the throne of glory, passing through every heavenly realm, piercing veils unseen, and marked by the urgency of eternity. You did not come across these words by chance. This is no coincidence. This is a divine intervention, orchestrated before the first light of this very day. Now, lay aside the noise of life. Set down every anxious thought, every entanglement, every attempt to control things by your own strength. For what is approaching you cannot be grasped by reason. It must be received through surrender. This is a moment when your soul must be laid completely open, without resistance, without doubt. You do not know this. A soul, someone whom you loved, who has since departed from this world, has stood in the courts of heaven, turning their face toward my throne, and has fervently interceded for you. Their cry was not one of despair, but a cry overflowing with love, pleading that you might awaken before the door of time closes. That soul has seen what your eyes have not yet perceived. They have discerned what is coming, the spiritual storms forming on the horizon that you are not yet aware of. And from their place in the realm of light, they stirred the angels, so that this message might be delivered to you. And because of that intercession, the Archangel Michael, the guardian of sacred realms, the commander of heaven's host, could no longer remain still. He descended not in spectacle, but with undeniable authority. He came, not bearing a sword aloft, but with eyes ablaze, eyes that burn with warning and protection. Michael does not merely stand guard over your home tonight. He is warring for your spiritual inheritance. Every moment you felt weary, clouded, or unwilling to pray, it was then that he swung his sword to keep back the shadows that were silently creeping toward you. And I, Jehovah your God, who have watched you dwell for so long on the edge between belief and uncertainty, I have now spoken. Not to instill fear, but to rouse the spirit within you that has fallen asleep. I have tried to stir you gently many times, through a fleeting dream, an unease in your heart, a nameless feeling when you entered a room. But you were too burdened, too exhausted, too unsure to pause and listen. So now, I do not whisper. I proclaim this across the skies of your spirit. I call your soul by the name only you and I know. That name is not spoken by any other, but you will feel it resonate within each beat of your heart. I summon you to awaken, because time is pressing, and the battle is no longer merely outside of you, but has begun to slip silently within. You think you still have time. You think you can wait until things feel more stable. But the enemy does not wait. He does not knock with thunder, but enters through your fatigue. He does not attack with blows, but with serpentine words that whisper inside you. It's okay. This is nothing. You can deal with it tomorrow. And each of those whispers, each quiet compromise, is a stepping stone for him to walk in, not merely into your home, but into your sphere of influence, your relationships, your decisions, and eventually into your destiny. Not with random motion, but with a sacred trembling, set into motion by a cascade of petitions and silent cries that you, even unknowingly, have released into the heavens. There were moments when you didn't even realize how deeply you were hurting. Nights when all you could do was lie still, letting thoughts cut through your heart like blades, unable to even name the sorrow. But in the deepest chambers of your soul, where words fall short, you groaned, and I, the Almighty God, have heard you. Today, I come to draw a clear line. There will be no more gray areas, no more ambiguity. You must choose. Either you stand in the ranks of the light, or allow the haze to pull you into the shadows. There is no longer space for half measures. No more time to delay. No more excuses to cling to what you already know is wrong, just because it's not the right time to let go. My child, I know this is hard. I know you're afraid. I see that your heart is still not ready to release certain relationships, certain memories, certain lingering feelings. But you were never called to live by emotion. You were called to live by revelation. And this revelation, these very words you are reading, is the call. I am not demanding perfection. I do not expect you to be as strong as heavenly armies. I ask only for one step. Just one step of obedience, even if it's trembling in the dark. Because every step you take in faith, I will lay a foundation beneath it with my protection. Each time you choose to reject the darkness, I will send my angels to stand there, filling the space you leave behind with my presence. Now, hear this with your whole heart. You are not alone. Not now, not ever. What is coming is not meant to destroy you, but to strengthen you into who you were always meant to become. This shaking, if you walk through it in obedience, will not unravel you. It will awaken the warrior within you, the guardian, the one who carries spiritual authority that terrifies the enemy. You will no longer merely survive. You will declare the light in the midst of darkness. You will be anointed, not for comfort, but for battle. So rise within your spirit. Shut every door that has been left open to deception. Refuse the strange voices whispering in your mind. It's okay. Erase the subtle compromises that have lingered far too long. And remember, when you dare to say no to darkness, heaven responds with a resounding yes to you. You must know this, not as a vague reminder, but as a soul-awakening truth, because this is no longer the time for uncertainty, nor the hour to hesitate between two paths. There has been something hidden from your eyes, not by coincidence, but by calculated interference. A truth that has been distorted through layers of compromise, lies wrapped in sweetness, and voices that told you everything was fine, when in reality, you were drifting away from the very position I destined for you. Now, I, who have watched you even before you knew yourself, can no longer stay silent. Because the true peace of your soul is standing at the edge of decision, unreleased blessings, unopened doors in heaven, and a divine calling carved into your spirit since the beginning. They are all waiting. But they can only be released when this truth is acknowledged, confronted, and stepped into with courage. You have been distracted for far too long, not by loud or obvious things, but by the subtle, seemingly harmless diversions, the quiet compromises, the unspoken silences, when truth should have been faced, and the ease with which you accepted a reality that was never meant to be yours. That is not the person I created you to be. That is not the ending I wrote for you, and that is certainly not the place of one who bears the mark of heaven upon their forehead. You were called out from the crowd. You were not made for mediocrity. nor were you designed to drift along the current of the masses. There is a higher plan reserved for your life, but you cannot step into it while still carrying the weight of what is false. I need you to understand this deeply. The truth, no matter how painful, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how it shatters what you once held as secure, is the only thing that can truly set you free. And if you truly long to live a spiritually fulfilled life, then you cannot turn your face away from that light. My child, look back on the years gone by. How many times have you felt as though you were walking through a mist? How many nights have you lain awake, not knowing why your heart felt so heavy? That was not worldly emptiness. It was the soul's warning bell, crying out in the rush of life, "You are straying from the anointed path." And now I have come to bring you back, not with punishment, but with a voice. Gentle yet resolute, a voice that if you still have even a flicker of spiritual sensitivity, you will hear in the depths of your being. I know you may feel afraid. Truth has a way of shaking the very ground we once thought secure. But remember this, nothing truly endures unless it is built upon truth. You cannot build a spiritual house upon the sand of falsehood. You cannot expect your soul to stand firm while it still leans on blurred lines and shaded truths. And most importantly, you cannot step into a divine calling unless you first sever yourself from what was wrong from the very beginning. There are things others do not want you to discover, because once you do, you will no longer be easy to manipulate. You will no longer surrender yourself to what does not belong to you. You will become a person of sharp spiritual discernment, someone whose very presence causes darkness to retreat. And that is what the enemy fears most. A soul awakened to the truth, choosing to live in the light, regardless of the cost. I have not come to force change upon you through pressure. I have come to invite you out from hiding, out from the layers of pretense, out from the things that seem fine but are quietly draining your strength. Because you are a child of the light, you were made to shine, not to dissolve, and that light within you cannot blaze forth if you continue to harbor shadows in any form. I speak to you in this very moment, not as a distant figure, but as the one who cried with you in the night, who held your hand when no one else saw, who believed in you when the world doubted. I know how much you've endured. I see the inner battles you've fought that no one else can fathom, and it is precisely for this reason that I tell you now. The time has come for you to stop letting others define you, to stop letting circumstances distort the true image of who you are, to stop allowing sweet-sounding lies to keep you from receiving the true voice from heaven. You must choose. You cannot walk two paths at once. You cannot cling to the old and still expect to receive the new. You cannot hold my hand and yet refuse to let go of the very things I am asking you to leave behind. Half-hearted surrender will never yield full victory, and silent compromise will destroy your spiritual destiny more thoroughly than any visible failure ever could. I declare to you now, the hour has come, the hour to awaken, to release, and to step forward, not because of compulsion, but because of the pressing urgency of this moment. This is not just another season, it is the divine moment of transition, and if you do not enter in, the delay will come at a cost, not as punishment, but through the forfeiture of what you were destined to carry and receive. Yet I say this to you with tenderness. If you are willing to confront the truth, I will clothe you with a peace that no force on earth can take away. I will place a new mantle upon your shoulders, reclaiming from the hand of the thief what once belonged to you. I will go before you, leveling what is rough and clearing the way, and I will make your life a signpost of restoration for those lost and searching around you. So, my child, take these words to heart. This is not a random encounter. It is divine intervention. This voice comes not to stir your emotions, but to awaken your soul. Be still and let these words bypass every barrier you've built around your heart. Because if you receive this truth, it will not only change your own life, it will alter the destiny of those you love, the ground you walk upon, and the generation waiting for your rise. All will be delivered. That person, they come from heaven. Not a comforting illusion, not a fading figure trapped in memory, but a real presence. One who has been sent from the eternal realm, crossing the invisible line between forever and now, to remain near you, quietly, faithfully, and full of love. They were with you in those moments you could never put into words. When your heart broke in ways no one could see, when silent tears soaked your pillow while your soul cried out in agony. They held your hand not with flesh, but with a tenderness words cannot describe, wiping your tears not with silk, but with the kind of gentleness born from a love that is not bound by time and not restrained by death. They have not yet rested, not because of confusion, and not because they have unfinished work for themselves, but because their care for you remains unresolved. Their soul cannot rest until they know without question that you, the one they cherished, the one they interceded for, the one they shielded in silence, have fully entered the safety of the Lord. Not the kind of safety this world offers, but the covering of heaven itself. And because of that fierce love, that silent intercession, that invisible cry rising from eternity, heaven has moved in response. That is why the Archangel Michael has been sent, not because you called him, and not because you earned it by human measure, but because a divine emergency has summoned intervention from the highest realms. This is an act rooted in mercy, driven by eternal love, and ignited by God's answer to the unspoken cries of faithful souls who now dwell beyond the veil. Michael is not an ordinary angel. He is the commander of heaven's armies, the warrior of justice, the leader in battles unseen by human eyes. When he arrives, the very atmosphere of the spirit realm begins to tremble. When he moves, darkness has no place left to hide. He does not come to deliver gentle news, but to engage in holy action. He does not appear to soothe, but to overthrow every scheme the enemy has constructed around your life. And the fact that he has come now, precisely at the moment when you believed everything was crumbling, is a powerful and undeniable sign. You have never been forsaken. This message carries not only words of comfort, but also a sacred warning. It is not a casual paragraph, nor a sweet sentiment meant to be forgotten once read. It is a trumpet blast to the soul, a divine alarm sounding across a slumbering land. It is a wave from heaven, crashing against the dry shores of your spirit, calling you to awaken and take your rightful place. You must understand this. This event, the visitation of Michael, the cry from that soul, and the stirring within your heart as you read these words, is not random. It is part of a divine orchestration prepared long ago. Heaven never moves without intention. No angel is ever sent without a specific mission, And right now, that mission is you. Not a group, not a congregation. You, this one soul sitting here, feeling something holy and fierce rising within like never before. Why you? Because you carry something precious that darkness does not want you to discover. A sacred mark was set upon you before you ever drew your first breath. A calling that cannot be replaced. A role that, if left unfulfilled, would leave a part of heaven's design incomplete. And for this very reason, forces of shadow have worked tirelessly to discourage you, to cause you to doubt yourself, and to keep you from walking through the doors you were meant to enter long ago. But I say to you, nothing is ever too late when heaven begins to move. No darkness is thick enough to stop a soul that has been awakened, and no plan of destruction from the enemy can stand when Michael steps onto the spiritual ground around you. This message, therefore, is not merely meant to move you. It is meant to move you to action, to bring you to your knees in repentance, but also to your feet in authority, to stir you to look back and declare, I can't live like that anymore. To make it known that if there was ever a time to focus, to purify, to choose again your path and your companions, that time is now. The soul of that one, the one who loved you deeply, both in life and beyond, continues to walk with you, not through words, but through silent presence, through divine intervention in the spiritual realm, through intercession that heaven does not overlook. And dear one, do not take that lightly. Souls who belong to God do not vanish when they pass. They remain warriors in the spirit. They still fight for the generations they leave behind. They stand near in the most pivotal moments. And now, that soul, along with an angelic host, stands beside you. Will you respond? Will you be brave enough to say, Lord, I hear you. I will not ignore this any longer. Because if you are willing, a new wave from heaven will begin to pour over your life. Not a wave of fleeting emotion, but a wave of real transformation. You will witness things you thought had died inside you begin to breathe again. Dreams that had been suffocated will find breath. Promises you believed were lost will begin to return, and the light you thought had gone out, will ignite again. Not as a flicker, but as a lighthouse in the night. That is why this message has come to you now, not by accident, not a passing feeling, but a deliberate arrangement from above. And heaven does not sound the alarm without reason. Do not miss this, beloved. Do not let your heart shut down from fear or familiarity. Do not say, I am not worthy, for none are worthy. It is grace that invites you in. It is everlasting love that holds you when you wander. And it is the Archangel Michael, the one who once led Israel through its fiercest battles, who now stands at the threshold of your home. You have endured too many nameless pains, wounds that do not show upon your skin, yet throb each time you silently recall them. They are the careless words that cut like blades, the cold stares that made you question your worth. There have been moments when you asked yourself, am I enough? Do I deserve to be loved, to be cherished? And it was within these questions that the darkness began to lurk, trying to cloak the true light within you with a veil of insecurity, shame, and hurt. But today, I come to you with a resolute declaration from eternity. No more. No one has the authority to distort the image I have etched upon your soul. No word, no action, no matter how small or unintentional, has the right to deny the sacred value I placed within you from the very beginning. You were born with a light that is unique, unlike any other, impossible to replicate. A light not crafted by worldly charm, but ignited from the depths of your soul by the very breath of the Creator. That light is the seal that affirms you belong to something divine. You are not the product of coincidence, but the result of a sacred intention, a loving and precise design from heaven. And because of that light, you have become a beacon, not only for those who long for hope, but also for the forces that do not want you to rise. There are people, souls even, so veiled by darkness that they cannot stand to witness your light shine. They look at you, whether openly or in secrecy, with deep-rooted envy. They do not say it aloud, but they sense that there is something in you that surpasses them. It is not fame nor appearance. It is something holy they cannot define. They see my hand upon your life, and it unsettles them. Some of them are not even aware that their hearts are being influenced by unseen forces, forces that wish to stop the spread of the light within you. They act as if they are merely people hurt or jealous. But the truth runs far deeper. There is an invisible battlefield where darkness does all it can to halt you, to stop your faith, your progress, your radiance. So, my beloved, do not measure your worth by the betrayal of others. Do not let indifferent eyes or cutting words make you forget that you are a chosen child of heaven. The wounds you have carried do not define you. They are proof that you have walked through fire without being consumed, that you have weathered the storm and still kept your light alive. I know there have been times when you've grown weary, times when you wanted to stop. You felt like a half-burned candle, your light flickering against the winds of life. But what you didn't realize is this: even in your weakest moments, your light was still enough to illuminate the way for someone else. And because of that light, I, your God, held you in place, even when you no longer wanted to go on, not to make you into an emotionless hero, but to show you this truth. The most precious light is the one that continues to burn, even after being snuffed out over and over again. You are not alone on this journey. I have always been with you, quietly, faithfully, watching every fracture in your soul and remembering every moment you almost gave up. I heard your whispered prayers in the night when no one else could hear you. I saw your silent tears fall when you had to be strong in front of others. And for all these reasons, I now say, you are worthy of healing. You deserve to know that your value has never diminished. You do not have to strive to be accepted, for you have already been chosen, already been loved, and already been destined for something greater. Do you know why you draw others toward you? It's not because you are perfect. It's because there is truth within you. There is compassion. There is a sacred current of life flowing through your gestures, your gaze, and your words. You offer others something they deeply lack: a glimmer of hope, a sense of being understood, seen, and loved. And in a world that grows increasingly barren, you are like a hidden wellspring that many find themselves drawn to, often without knowing why. But because of that, beloved, you must be protected. I do not want you to continue being wounded by those who cannot comprehend the light within you. I do not want you to keep shrinking yourself to please souls that were never meant to cherish you. You do not need to dim your light so others won't feel blinded. If they cannot handle the radiance, they are not the ones called to walk beside you. Remember this. The light you carry was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to illuminate. It was never meant to make you retreat, but to call you forward. And those who truly belong with you, those whom God has placed in your journey, they will not resent that light. They will not make you feel too much. They will stand beside you and let their own light blend with yours, together becoming a greater flame for a world covered in shadows. So I declare to you now, hold fast to that light. Do not extinguish it simply because others don't understand. Do not step back out of fear of being hurt. Walk forward, with your head held high, with a heart made clean and eyes fixed on the call that echoes from heaven. I have gone ahead of you. I have assigned angels to guard you. And I promise you this: not a single pain you've endured will be wasted. Every scar will stand as a testament to my healing power. The eyes of your soul, the ones the world cannot see, but heaven designed to perceive the invisible, are being opened in this very moment, not through pressure or dazzling supernatural sights, but through the words you are now reading. Word by word, line by line, they are soaking into your spirit like the first rain on a land that's been dry for far too long. Your soul, the deepest, purest part of you, the very dwelling place of divine life, is beginning to awaken. Something is stirring within you. Not anxiety, not panic, but a strange, profound awareness, both peaceful and powerful. Like every cell in your body is silently crying out, yes, this is it. This is what I've always known, but never had the words for. You are not imagining things. You are not insane, and you are most certainly not alone. The trembling in your spirit does not come from fear. It is a response, a divine resonance with what was planted in you long ago. Because you have felt it. You've sensed it in passing. You've known, even if dimly, that something wasn't quite right, that something deeper was moving beneath the surface of ordinary life. There were nights when you woke with strange dreams, with fleeting images that made your heart pound without reason. There were moments in broad daylight when you paused mid-conversation, shaken by a shiver you couldn't explain. You thought you were being too sensitive, but no, you were being warned. Heaven never stays silent toward the souls it loves, and you are one of them. You've received signs before, even if they were subtle and quiet. A random comment from a stranger, a scripture that appeared just when you needed it, a song that played in a crowded place but spoke directly to your heart. These were not coincidences. They were divinely orchestrated. Heaven has been sending signals all along, and now here you are, reading these words, not as a passerby, but as one who was chosen to hear. That feeling of being awakened within you right now is not an illusion. It is a confirmation. It is a bell ringing deep within the inner temple of your being, declaring, the time has come. It is time to reevaluate everything, time to confront the questions you've tucked away in silence, the ones you've never dared to ask anyone. Time to understand that not everything passing before your eyes is merely physical. There are things unfolding in the unseen realm, and they are directly influencing your soul, your thoughts, your emotions, and even the smallest decisions in your daily life. You've sensed it, haven't you? That vague unease with no clear source. That feeling that something unknown is drawing near, something you cannot name. Even certain relationships that once felt warm now seem distant and unclear. People you once trusted suddenly feel unfamiliar. Situations that appeared stable are beginning to crack and fray, little by little. But this is not a random collapse. It is a necessary separation. Because once your spiritual eyes begin to open, you will no longer be able to see life the way you once did. What once seemed normal will be revealed under a new light. What you once tolerated will now cause your heart to ache as the true nature of things becomes visible. But take heart. This initial pain is not a sign of failure. It is the first step in your healing. Heaven is allowing you to clearly see what you need to walk away from. Not to condemn you, but to set you free. To lead you out of what is false and into the place where true light awaits you. This is the moment when every decision you make carries spiritual weight. This is the hour when even your silence becomes a powerful voice in the unseen realm. And this is also the time when even your sigh, a single breath of yearning, reaches the throne of God. You may not know exactly what you are being called to, but that sense within you that there is something greater waiting, that is not a fantasy, it is the truth. You were warned, not to be afraid, but to be prepared, not to shrink back, but to rise. Because spiritual awakening is not the end of peace, but the beginning of a life that can no longer walk blindly through light and shadow. Your eyes now are not only seeing what is visible, but what is hidden. And for that reason, you must choose to live differently. You can no longer dismiss the stirrings in your heart. You cannot downplay those repeating dreams. You cannot ignore the meaningful coincidences that keep appearing. All of it is part of a larger message, one that is being intricately woven by the very hand of God. And now, as everything becomes clearer than ever before, you need to know this. You were not called to live in confusion. You are being called to walk with eyes wide open, with a sharpened spirit, and with the courage to say no to what once held you captive, and yes to the call from heaven. You may not yet know what the next step is, but you don't need to know everything. You only need to know this: the one who has begun to awaken you will not abandon you halfway. He does not light the path only to leave you in the dark. He does not uncover the truth to wound you, but to heal you, so that you may step forward, not as one driven by emotion, but as one led by vision. Therefore, my beloved, do not be afraid when your soul trembles. Rejoice, for its trembling is a sign that it is still sensitive. Do not run from that sense that something is changing, because indeed everything is shifting. And more than ever, now is the time you must not retreat. You must not ignore the warning. You must not lull yourself to sleep with temporary comforts. Do not be afraid, precious soul. Do not let temporary shadows dim the eternal light I am shining upon your path. Even now, as the truth is being unveiled and hidden things are brought into the light, you may feel confused, overwhelmed by the whirlwind of unexpected revelations. But I say to you, do not fear. For I am not only exposing the forces that have been manipulating your surroundings, I am also doing a far deeper work. I am returning you to your rightful place within the divine plan I set in motion before the foundation of the world. When I strip away the lies, when I lift the veil from your eyes, I do not do it to increase your pain. On the contrary, I am lifting you, not by raising you above others, but by lifting your spirit from the depths of doubt, from the barren land of insecurity, from the endless cycle of rejection and hurt. I see clearly every fracture in your heart, wounds that no one knows, no one asks about, yet cut deep like sharpened blades. There are things you have never spoken aloud, sorrows you've kept tightly folded in your soul, questions that have never found an answer. And I, the one who sees into your spirit, declare, not a single tear you've shed, not a single sigh you've held back has been in vain. Nothing has escaped my gaze. I have listened, even in your silence. I have counted every aching heartbeat in the night. My child, do not think that betrayal is the end of your story. Do not believe that being wounded by others has lessened your worth. No, on the contrary. It is in that very betrayal that I am using the pain to reposition you, to lift you from the temporary ground and place you firmly into the eternal design I crafted for you. Betrayal does not destroy your destiny, not if you allow me to use it as an instrument to elevate you. You once believed you were abandoned, but the truth is, I was protecting you from things you could not see. There are doors that close not because you were unworthy, but because I did not want you stepping into places not meant for you. There are people who walked away, not because you failed, but because they could not continue with you on the path of calling I have reserved for you. Let them go. Let what does not belong fall away. Do not cling to connections I am unraveling, for I am the everlasting one, and that name is not a symbol. It is my very nature. It is a promise. It is the breath that moves through your life. I am the healer, not one who merely places a bandage over wounds, but the one who enters the deepest places of your broken heart to recreate it from within. I do not heal by erasing memories, but by transforming every scar into a testimony of triumph. I am your protector, not only when peace surrounds you, but even when you sleep amid unseen battles. You cannot begin to count how many times I have stopped disaster from reaching you. How many times I have sent my angel armies to encircle your rest. The times you strayed but returned safely were not accidents. They were the silent covering of my hand. I am your defender, the one who will not remain silent when falsehood is spoken about you, when slander spreads like the wind. You do not need to strive to protect your own name, for I am the one who will bring the truth into the light at the appointed time. I will be the voice that rises in the heavenly courtroom, speaking on your behalf when you no longer have the strength to speak. I will restore your reputation, not so that you may be praised among people, but so that my name may be glorified through your life. And I am the God of breakthrough, the one who is never stopped by closed doors, unfavorable circumstances, or worldly limitations. When I say go, no power can stand in your way. When I open a path, you will walk through even when the way ahead still looks like a sea. That which once hindered you, fear, painful memories, harsh words, will shatter like chains cut loose from your soul. You were never destined to dwell forever in the land of sorrow. You were called to overcome, to step into a wholly new journey, one where your calling becomes clear and your purpose is no longer clouded by past wounds. You don't need to keep striving to prove anything. I have never loved you because of your performance. I loved you simply because you are you, because you are made in my image, and within you dwells a sacred essence the world cannot comprehend. So, my beloved, breathe deeply and lift your head. What has passed no longer holds authority over your steps. Those who once hurt you no longer have the right to define your heart. I am standing before you now, not just as the Almighty, but as a Father who will never abandon you, who is never weary of your failures, and who never withholds words of love when you need to hear them most. Let these words etch deeply into your heart. You are still worthy. You can still begin again. You don't need to be perfect, only willing. And I, the one who has seen you from the beginning, will continue to walk with you through every new chapter of the story I am writing with you. My child, listen closely to what I am about to say, for in the spiritual realm something is unfolding quietly. If you are not discerning, you may miss something more precious than gold or silver. The spiritual inheritance I myself have set aside for you long before you were formed in your mother's womb. There is someone, or perhaps a group of people, who are, whether intentionally or not, trying to pull you off the path I have prepared for you. They may not speak openly against you, nor make clear declarations. In fact, they may smile, offer seemingly kind words, or appear to care. But behind those actions is an influence far more dangerous, one that subtly steers you away from your divine destiny. Can you feel it? Each time you draw near to a breakthrough in the spirit, you are suddenly overcome by a strange weariness, emotional confusion, or mental unrest. This is not just emotion, it is a covert attack. These individuals, through veiled comments, skeptical glances, and relentless questions that make you doubt yourself, a wind named doubt. They pull your attention away from what matters. They cause your desire to pray to flicker, like a candle hidden from air. They do not need to openly mock your faith. All they need to do is plant seeds of uncertainty, and then wait from a distance as the sacred fire within you begins to dry and wither. They are the ones who, instead of lifting your arms in the midst of spiritual battle, quietly pull you backward with advice coated in reasonable logic. They try to make you believe that your calling is too lofty, that you are overthinking the unseen, and that you should pray less and live more realistically. But my dear child, if only you knew the danger hidden behind those words, you would understand why I must speak to you now, urgently and without delay. You are being led away from the light, not by force, but by an invisible thread. It's the thread of compromise, of adaptation, of relationships that seem harmless. And yet it is that very harmlessness that is quietly dulling your spiritual sensitivity, bit by bit. One day, if you do not awaken, you will no longer hear my voice clearly, not because I have stopped speaking, but because you have become too distracted to listen. I have not come to condemn you. I have come to rescue you from this spiral, to help you see that you are carrying a treasure in an earthen vessel, a vessel that can break if not guarded carefully. The gossip, the scornful looks, the seemingly harmless jokes about your faith, they are not trivial. They are poisoned arrows aimed directly at your trust in me. You think you're strong enough not to be affected, perhaps for a while, but when these influences become part of your everyday life, when disrespect toward the sacred becomes normalized, you will begin to recoil at my presence. You will find it burdensome to seek me, and that, precisely, is what the enemy desires. I have given you spiritual discernment, not a knowledge you learn from books, but a sensitivity born of abiding in my presence. You used to know what was right and what was wrong. You could sense when something was off, even if everyone else denied it. But now that voice is being drowned out by the thousands around you. And tragically, some of those voices belong to people you once trusted. You cannot continue to open your heart to everyone as you once did. Not because you are becoming closed off, but because this season demands deeper discernment. You are carrying within you a sacred seed, a calling, a mark, a promise. And that seed cannot thrive in an atmosphere clouded with doubt and spiritual apathy. Ask me, and I will show you who is permitted to step into the space of your soul and who you must gently distance yourself from, not out of bitterness, but out of protection. There are people, though not malicious, who are being unknowingly used by darkness to delay your forward movement. There are so-called wise warnings that, in reality, are choking the wings of your spiritual flight. I know this is hard to hear. I know it grieves you to think that those close to you might be the reason you're drifting from obedience. But I do not speak to flatter. I speak only what is necessary to save you. And the truth is this: someone is trying to pull you away from the divine orbit I have drawn for you. They cannot take your heavenly inheritance from my hand, but they can lead you to forfeit it, not through force, but through words that sound reasonable, not through conflict, but through subtle manipulation. They sow weariness in your soul, then lead you down smoother, shorter paths that do not reach your true destination. You must rise, not in anger, but in awakening. It is time to sever the ties that are quietly drawing your soul away from my presence. You must choose again, not out of fleeting emotion, but because your very life depends on this decision. You must claim your spiritual inheritance, even if it means letting go of relationships that once felt inseparable. Remember this: your inheritance is not for you alone. It is also for those who will be saved through your life. If you forfeit it, the loss is not yours alone, but a wound that may echo through generations. The choice you make today is not only about your present, it is about your eternal destiny. I know that you are strong enough to do what is right, because I, the one who has called you, will also empower you to overcome. But you must be decisive. You must choose clearly. You must dare to reject the influences that are quietly poisoning your spirit, even if they come dressed in sweetness. You belong to the light. You were created to walk under divine guidance. Do not let the noise of this world drown out my voice. Do not let loyalty to people overshadow your faithfulness to me. Come back. Consecrate your spiritual space once more. Guard the inheritance I have entrusted to you, and I promise you will not only preserve it, but you will enter a season of multiplied blessings. For I am still waiting for you in a place of peace that no one can take away. The season that lies ahead is not merely a resting point after the storm. It is a divinely orchestrated chapter, one in which nothing is forgotten, where every wound has been accounted for, and every silent tear you've ever shed has been recorded as a wordless prayer. What is coming is not just a reward for your quiet faithfulness, but a miraculous rebuilding, an answer from the Lord your God, who saw you endure in silence and persevere in the shadows. This new phase will not resemble any you've walked through before. It is not merely recovery, it is revival. What pain once stripped from your hands, dreams, hope, energy, trust, will be restored not just in measure, but in abundance, overflowing like a river drawn from an unending well. God is not merely returning what was lost, He is making it greater, purer, and entirely renewed. But understand this clearly. Not everyone is permitted to enter this next season with you. There are relationships, no matter how familiar, how deeply interwoven, that have become hidden weights, draining your spirit in unseen ways. That person, even if cloaked in care, attachment, or even love, may in fact be dimming the light within you. They cannot walk through the door I am opening. If you try to bring them along, it will be your own hand that fractures what I have painstakingly prepared. And my child, what I have prepared is neither small nor insignificant. Can you feel it? A new wind is blowing through your soul. There is a shift in the spiritual realm that not everyone can see. I am repositioning you, placing you in the right place, at the right time, in the right setting, for something great to begin. In this sacred moment, you must not choose through sentiment, but through wisdom refined by fire. Not everyone who walked with you is meant to stay. Some were meant only for the previous season, and that is all they were ever meant for. But this season, this new season, is one of refinement and consecration. Look back on the path you have walked, not with regret, but with awareness. See that I have preserved you, even when you thought everything was lost. I have sustained you, even in the moments when you were lost to yourself. And now I am not merely pulling you out of exhaustion, but lifting you up with a new strength, one that does not come from your own will, but from a sacred source. It flows from me. The elevation in this new season is not just an outward restoration, but a transformation that begins at the very roots of your soul. I am digging deeper, cleansing and healing the hidden places, those wounds you thought were behind you. Now I will touch them, not to reopen them, but to heal them completely. No more masks to hold yourself together. No more pretending to be at peace. I desire you to be free, truly free. To love, to live, to breathe without the burden you've carried. You will witness a breakthrough not only in your spirit, but also in your physical life. I will open financial doors you did not expect. Where there was once a desert, I will cause springs to rise. What was dry will overflow. But do not mistake this. These blessings are not given so that you might drift from me, but so you might draw even closer, realizing that nothing you receive comes from your own striving, but by grace alone. The calling on your life will become unmistakably clear. Those long-held questions, the quiet cries in the night, the buried longings you believed were forgotten, will be stirred again. And I will show you that those very things are part of your divine mission. Not everyone will understand what I've asked you to do, and they don't need to. What I seek from you is not the approval of others, but your obedience. And in that obedience, you will witness the restoration of relationships, what once broke, not because of your fault, but because the previous season had come to its end, will now be mended in ways beyond what you can imagine. I will reconnect hearts that were once fractured, and I will sever the ties that no longer come from me. Those who need to leave, I will remove. Those who are meant to come, I will bring. You do not need to control any of it. Just keep your heart aligned, and I will do the rest. You must remember this. What I am building in you is not a fleeting moment of brilliance. It is the foundation for a life that will carry eternal impact. Your words will no longer fall to the ground without purpose. Your actions will plant seeds in the hearts of many. And the light that shines from you will reach places you never imagined. Not because you are the most extraordinary, but because you are willing to be used by me. Prepare yourself. Cleanse the spiritual and emotional spaces within. Let go of what you are clinging to merely out of habit. I want you to be light so you can rise. I want you to be empty so I can fill you with myself. And once you release what no longer serves your journey, you will see. The door that opens is not merely a way forward. It is a divine appointment between you and your heavenly purpose. And then, one by one, things will begin to shift. Not with noise, not with drama, but quietly and powerfully, like a night rain soaking the dry ground. The laughter you thought had vanished forever will return. Subtle yet genuine, sneaking into unexpected moments as if your soul is awakening from a long slumber. The nights that were once plagued with anxiety, the darkness that silently gripped your weary mind, will gradually become peaceful. No longer will you lie awake under the weight of burdens, but you will rest, secure beneath the wings of the one who guards your life. Worship is no longer a strained effort. It is no longer a duty performed out of obligation, but the breath of a soul longing for the living one. The heaviness that once made you hesitant to enter my presence has now lifted, replaced by a strange lightness, as if you've finally stepped into the place where you truly belong. Like a child running into their father's arms after years of distance, every song, every prayer, every moment you close your eyes and lift your heart has become a sacred bridge, a place where you do not merely worship, but truly encounter me. And then, the thing you once believed to be impossible, the healing of your family, has quietly begun to unfold. Not through arguments, not through rational efforts, but through something you could never manufacture on your own: grace. I am restoring what was broken, not to bring it back to how it used to be, but to build something better. Generational wounds, unspoken misunderstandings, words that linger like splinters in the mind, they are all being gently undone by my hand. A curse that once seemed to weigh down your entire bloodline is being shattered, not by human strength, but by the power that flows from obedience. Yes, my beloved, it all begins with something simple yet deeply powerful: obedience. Not perfection, not complete understanding, just a quiet yes when you have nothing left but a trembling heart. A single step in the night, a clumsy but sincere prayer, a decision to return when no one is urging you to. This is where I begin to work. Obedience is the key that opens the gate to wonders. It does not demand strength, only the humility to say, "Lord, I don't know everything, but I trust you." And never forget this: you do not walk alone. I know there have been moments when you felt abandoned in the middle of a crowd, times when your heart was too weary to even form a prayer, times when it seemed no one saw the silent war raging inside your mind. But I have seen it all, and I have not only come to embrace you in your loneliness, I have sent my people to find you, not to judge you, not to diminish you, but to love you, to stand with you in intercession, to help you heal from the inside out. They will not be perfect, but they will be genuine. They may not carry quick solutions, but they carry hearts that understand pain. These are the ones I have prepared beforehand, those who know what it means to be broken, so that when they come to you, they bring not pride but compassion. They will not pray with you once and leave, but will stay to fight with you through the night until the dawn breaks, and you will know. I never leave you to walk this journey alone. You too will be empowered to become that kind of person for someone else. The wounds you once carried will no longer be marks of shame, but living testimonies of healing. You will not only be held up, you will become someone who knows how to lift others. Every tear you've cried will turn into refreshing streams for another. Every truth you've learned in silence and sorrow will become a living lesson, one soaked in real love, not hollow words. You must understand, no healing is wasted. Not a single moment of your breakdown was without value. I am using it all, even what you saw as failure, to form the very material of the great work I am building within you. Every time you whispered yes in fear, you planted a seed of faith. And I am the one who causes that seed to grow, to blossom, and to bear fruit in its appointed season. The freedom you are stepping into is not a fleeting freedom. It is a profound liberation, one that comes from knowing to whom you belong, what foundation you stand upon, and what you were born to live for. Once you have tasted the sweetness of spiritual freedom, you will no longer tolerate disguised bondage. You will no longer allow yourself to be held back by negative words, painful memories, or false definitions born from your past. I am repositioning you, not as one who merely survives, but as one who overcomes. No longer will you be the wounded soul limping forward, but the one who has been healed, standing with clarity, knowing the path you must take. New doors will open, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you walked in obedience. I will go before you and clear the way. You will begin to see transformation in your work, in your surroundings, and in how you perceive both yourself and others. And you will begin to love yourself the way I love you. Not through pride, but through the eyes of understanding. That you were created with purpose, with inherent worth, and that no one else can take your place in my design. Every small part of you, every trait you once dismissed as insignificant, I will use them to do wonders. Therefore, my beloved child, keep moving forward. Keep your heart pure, your hands open, and your eyes fixed on me. Believe that the coming season is not just the closing of old chapters, but the beginning of something greater than you have ever imagined. And trust this, even in moments when you feel weak, I am still holding your hand, guiding you into the very place where you truly belong. Even now, yes, in this seemingly quiet moment, there is a confrontation unfolding in the unseen realm, a battle invisible to human eyes. And in that place, on the sacred front lines where light and darkness collide, the Archangel Michael, the commander of heaven's armies, is standing guard over your spiritual inheritance, not passively, but with sword drawn, shield raised. He is not merely present, he is protecting, intercepting, and watching over every entryway into your soul, like a gatekeeper guarding a treasure of immeasurable worth. Because your soul is more precious than you've ever dared to believe. There are battles you do not even realize you are in, but heaven knows, and God, the one who called your name before you were formed in your mother's womb, He has not turned a blind eye. He has sent Michael, because you cannot continue being wounded. You cannot go on being manipulated by those who masquerade as love, yet only drain your energy and steal your peace. Those who carry the label of close, but seek only to control you, to distort your vision, to pull you away from the destiny I have prepared. But today, yes, this very moment, the access to your soul is being revoked. Those who have lingered too long, sowing seeds of doubt, fear, and pain, have now been marked, not for punishment, but for separation from the journey I am unfolding ahead. I will not allow anyone to enter your next season carrying the weight of manipulation, suffocation, or darkness. And for this to be fulfilled, you must be courageous. You must choose, not just once, but daily. Choose peace over the compulsion to please. Choose truth over convenient lies. Choose me, the one who never asks you to sacrifice your worth or abandon your identity to be loved. I do not love you for what you can do for me. I love you because you are mine. And that love is unconditional. It knows no bounds. It has no ending. But such love must be trusted. It cannot coexist with compromise. You cannot step into a life of freedom while still being bound by the fear of abandonment. You cannot soar if you are still being held back by the hands of those who never truly blessed your journey. The time has come to choose your portion, not from a place of defensiveness, but from a place of holy resolve. You were created for something greater than the pain you have endured, something higher than the rejection you once faced, something deeper than the criticisms you've heard, and it is because of that greatness that you are being preserved, not isolated, but set apart. You are not forgotten. You are not cast aside. In truth, you are being repositioned, lifted out of toxic surroundings, and brought into a place where your vision will be made clear and your soul will be nourished. I see you, not only the strong parts, but the tender ones, the layered and messy parts too. I see the pain you keep hidden. I understand the questions you don't dare speak aloud. I know the loneliness of the cold room where tears fall unnoticed. And I declare to you now, you are not abandoned. Not a single moment of your life has been wasted. Not a single scar on your soul is without meaning. Each one bears witness to what I am building, a reconstruction rising from the ruins, a new song formed from old sorrows. You are not the sum of what others have done to you. You are the masterpiece of the one who saw it all, heard it all, and still chose you. There is a destiny awaiting you, not as a vague idea, but as a living reality that will unfold as you bravely step away from all that no longer serves your divine purpose. You will not lose when you walk away from manipulation. You will not be alone when you refuse the company of the toxic. You will not be empty when you close the door on what has wounded you for too long. On the contrary, you will be made whole, filled with life, peace, and the love that comes from me. And I want you to know this: the love I have for you cannot be measured. It does not depend on praise or success. It does not fade when you are weak. It is not limited by time or by human conditions. It is a love that transcends every barrier, every psychological wound, and every generational curse. A steadfast love that covers, that sustains. A love from the living God. My beloved, the choice lies before you, and no one else can choose for you. It is both the power and the responsibility of the chosen. Choose resolutely to live unbound. Choose to forgive without reopening the door to exploitation. Choose to love without losing yourself. Choose to trust in me, the one who will never leave you to fight alone. Your true strength does not come from what is visible. It does not come from loud victories, from spotlights or the applause of men. Your strength comes from a place much deeper, from where faith takes root, where your soul not only knows of me, but fully trusts me, trusts my words spoken, trusts the love I continually offer, trusts that you are sheltered, upheld, and carried, even when no one sees, even when no one understands. That is a strength that cannot be stolen, cannot be shaken by circumstances or slander. That is the inner flame the enemy fears the most, the flame of a living faith. Beloved child, it is that deep faith of yours, perhaps not always unwavering, but relentlessly enduring, that becomes the very ground where my power is revealed in its greatest strength. When you choose to believe that I, the living God, love you not with logic, not with condition, but with a love that surpasses all the measures of time and space, that is when you take your place among the called, the chosen, the ones set apart for an eternal purpose. My love for you is unlike any love you've ever known. It is not moody affection, nor a fleeting sentiment that changes with circumstance or reaction. It is a healing love, for it mends every wound imprinted upon your mind. It is a penetrating love, for it reaches into the darkest corners of your soul, the places even you hesitate to face. And it is a beautiful love, for it paints color back into the faded canvas of your days. But it is also a holy and majestic love, because it flows from the one who sits enthroned in the highest heavens, yet bends his ear to hear the faintest whisper from your heart. And above all, it is an everlasting love, one not restrained by your past, nor diminished by your failures. It is a supernatural love, defying barriers, overpowering forces, and breaking through every prejudice. That love becomes your refuge in storms, your warmth when night surrounds you. When you come to know you are loved in such a way, you will realize this. No matter where you find yourself in the battle, you are never truly alone. Even in the moments when the fight has drained you, when you feel like you can no longer move forward, that is precisely when my Spirit is alive within you, not just to comfort, but to empower. He is the breath that returns to dry bones. He is the strength that holds you up when your prayers fall silent and your tears have run dry. And yes, when the enemy believes it has won, when it assumes that fall was your final one, when it celebrates your silence, that is when you will rise. Maybe your hands will still tremble. Maybe your eyes will still carry tears. Maybe your heart will still ache. But you will not rise by your own might. You will rise by my presence within you. I will be the strength in your knees. I will be the breath in your lung. I will be the reason you take one more step and then another. You do not fail by falling. You fail only when you choose not to rise. But when you choose to continue, even with nothing more than a sigh laced with a fragile prayer, I count that as faith, as victory. Every time you refuse to let go of my hand, I draw you closer to the purpose I have written over your life. No step is wasted. No tear is forgotten. I remember it all. Every moment you pressed on in silence. Every time you chose mercy when you had every right to be angry. Every instance you whispered, "I believe," even as the world seemed to collapse around you. Do not let the voices of the world make you question your worth. Do not allow the jealous glance or the whispered malice of others slow your stride. Those who appear more accomplished, those with status, renown, or recognition, are not your measure. For I, the eternal Creator, do not see as man sees. I do not select by human standards, nor do I measure greatness by visible success. I look into the faithfulness of your heart, the sincerity of your spirit, and the light that still burns within your soul. The very light I breathed into you from the beginning. Do not believe that anyone is greater than you. Do not let such a thought take root in your mind. That idea stands in direct opposition to divine truth. I, the Creator Himself, have made all human beings equal in the worth of their souls. Each person was fashioned not according to earthly standards, but in the sacred image of me. No one was born with a soul as valuable than another. No life is a random occurrence. There is no existence that is merely the product of chance. Yet among the billions of souls I have formed, there are those who become distinct, not because they were born with superior abilities, talents, or advantages, but because they chose me. These are the ones who opened their hearts, who sought me not in exchange for success, but because they longed for my presence. They did not love me for what I could give, but because they saw me as the treasure, greater than every reward. It is this longing, this kind of faith, that sets them apart. My child, do not be swept away by the rush of the world around you, where human worth is often measured by visibility and applause. I do not require you to be better than others. I only desire you to be fully yourself, whole, true, and aware of whose you are. You do not need to fight for a place. You already have one within my heart. You do not need to raise your voice to be noticed. I called your name long before the foundations of the earth were laid. I know you. I see you. And I cherish every breath you take, every moment you choose to rise after falling, every tear you quietly wipe away in the silence of night. Do not let comparison numb your spirit. You were not made to mirror them, for they do not carry your assignment. They do not walk the path I carved specifically for you. What I planted within you is unique, sacred, and eternal, and only when you dare to live it, without imitation, without fear, will the beauty I wove into your very being begin to shine. Faith is not a fleeting emotion. Faith is a decision, a choice made again and again, day by day, to believe even when nothing is seen, to walk even when the road is unclear, to love even after being wounded, and to stay even when leaving would be easier. I am searching for souls like that, not because I am in need, but because the world desperately needs witnesses of the light. You are part of that plan. Do not doubt it, not even for a moment. You may feel small. You may think there is nothing extraordinary about you. But, my dear one, even a seed appears unimpressive until it pushes through the earth and bursts into bloom. That is what I am doing in you, quietly, patiently, but surely. I am growing you, not in the way the world expects, but in the rhythm of the kingdom of heaven. There will be times when others will not understand you, times when you will be overlooked, doubted, or even abandoned. But do not let that define you. Remember this: those who carry a divine mark are rarely welcomed by the world. Even my beloved Son was rejected, mocked, and crucified, but that did not make him any less glorious, and nothing can dim the light within you. You do not need others' approval to know your worth. You only need to hold fast to what I have spoken over you and live from that truth. Your faith is a voice that echoes into heaven. It is a fragrance that delights my heart. It is the sound of battle drums that moves the armies of angels. You are not weak when you choose to believe amid uncertainty. On the contrary, you are doing the bravest thing a soul can do. I know you are in the midst of a battle, wrestling with the voices within, measuring yourself against the noise outside, carrying worries that have no name yet weigh heavily on your soul. But remember this: you're not fighting alone. I am here, and if you will let me, I will walk with you, step by step. Not hastily, not forcefully, but steadily. You don't have to prove anything. You simply need to keep going. Trust, listen, and stand firm upon the foundation of my word. The difference does not come from striving for recognition. It comes from knowing to whom you belong. Those who walk by faith, those who live in quiet reverence before me, they are the ones who shift the atmosphere in the spirit realm. They do not seek applause. They have no need for stages, nor for crowds. They need only me, and I, my child, am the greatest reward a soul could ever long for. So do not let anyone cause you to doubt the sacred worth I have placed within you. Live as one who is chosen. Walk as one who knows they carry the light of heaven. And as you do, you will not only make the enemy tremble, you will become a beacon that leads wandering hearts home. Beloved child, pause now, and let your heart be still for a moment. I am unfolding before your eyes a new beginning, not through noise or spectacle, but through the quiet strength that comes from peace deep within your soul. I, who have watched every step and counted every breath you took in the dark, now reach out to lead you into a path of light and meaning. I have seen your exhaustion. I have seen you circling unanswered questions, trying to make it through each day with no clear sense of purpose. But today, I have come to rewrite the story you're living. Not with ink, but with life. I have already prepared for you a sacred and unmistakable purpose, not vague, not tangled with fleeting desires. This purpose is not merely something for you to do, but someone for you to become. A bearer of life, a flame in the darkness, a steady heartbeat in a chaotic world. I will clothe you with peace, not a temporary ease, but a deep rest that transcends circumstance. Even if you find yourself in the middle of a desert, dry, barren, with no direction, I will cause it to bloom. I will water the cracked places of your soul. What you once believed was lost, I will resurrect and renew. Receive this gift with unwavering trust. Open your heart with the joy of a child, not because everything is clear, but because you know that I am the one who made the promise. And walk in humility, for much of what I give will not come wrapped in brilliance or grandeur. People often fix their eyes on what seems large and dazzling, and in doing so, they miss the treasures hidden within what appears ordinary. But I do not work as the world works. I choose the small to accomplish the great. I take the weak to reveal true strength. I use the lowly to overthrow pride. And you, yes you, are living proof of this truth. Do not overlook the small things now appearing in your life. Do not dismiss a simple conversation, a chance meeting, a humble opportunity, for it may very well be the beginning of something I have ordained from eternity. You do not yet know all that I am preparing, but if you hold fast in faith, if you keep walking even when you only see one step at a time, I myself will reveal to you wonders you never imagined. You may have wondered, why does everything seem to come so slowly, so small, so different from what I hoped for? But, my beloved, a seed never bursts forth in brilliance the moment it touches the soil. It lies still, hidden, unseen, yet within it life is already stirring. And when the appointed season arrives, it will rise, strong and unstoppable. So too are the blessings I pour out. They may come like a gentle breeze, like a drop of dew, but within them flows the power of an entire river of grace. Faith is not believing when all is clear. Faith is walking forward when the path is not yet visible. True joy does not come from favorable circumstances, but from the deep assurance that I am with you. When you know that I never change, then even in the midst of storms, your heart will find a harbor of peace. Remain faithful, for what I have begun, I will bring to completion. You are not wandering alone in search of meaning, you are being led. Every sigh of weariness, every tearful prayer you have lifted, I have heard them all, and every small act of obedience you continue in, though unseen by others, I have recorded. Perhaps today it feels like you're simply doing ordinary things, caring for someone, praying quietly, fulfilling your duties day by day. But remember, in my kingdom, the smallest act done in love and faith is counted as the greatest. A word of forgiveness, a look of compassion, a quiet sacrifice made for someone else. These are the places where I dwell. These are the places where I build the extraordinary. Do not let impatience steal your harvest. Do not let the voices of others cause you to question the value of what you carry. Not everything that makes noise comes from me. Not every bright light is true light. But what comes from me, even in silence, will endure forever. I do not simply want to change your circumstances. I want to transform you. Because the greatest miracle is not me leading you out of the desert, but making you a fountain in the midst of it. Not just so you may receive blessings, but so you may become a blessing. And that begins now with what you already have, however small, however imperfect. So lift up your eyes, my child. Receive every moment with the confidence that it carries divine purpose. Be grateful for the smallest things, for in my hands the smallest can become the mightiest. You do not need to wait for perfection to start believing. Right here, in the uncertainty, in the lack, in the simplicity, I am doing something wondrous. I am the one who turns ashes into beauty. I am the one who transforms tears into pearls. I am the one who makes a way through the sea. And if you will keep believing, if you will keep walking, you will see what you thought was an ending will reveal itself to be a new beginning, brighter, deeper, and marked with eternity. So do not doubt the worth of the blessing you are receiving, even if it doesn't arrive in the form you once imagined. I am still at work. I am still drawing near. And it is precisely in the stillness, in the silence, that I am planting the seeds of a new season within you, a season of blooming, a season of abundant harvest, a season where what was once barren, once rejected, will rise in new life and radiant glory. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared for something that far exceeds every expectation. My beloved, this is a sacred moment, a divine intersection, where the old is closing and a glorious new chapter is about to unfold before your eyes. You did not arrive here by accident. Every step, every decision, every season that has passed was leading you to this very instant, where I, the Creator of all things, am reaching out to invite you deeper into my living, miraculous presence. This is no longer the time for hesitation or delay, the days of merely watching from afar, of whispering prayers in the shadows. They have all been noted by me. But now, I am calling you to step forward, not to prove anything to the world, but to step into the divine destiny I etched your name into before time itself began. Every plan I have made for you is not random. Every blessing I have prepared comes with purpose, with timing, and with a precision born of wisdom far beyond human understanding. So draw near to me, not with perfect hands, but with an honest heart. Lay down the plans you have toiled to build. Offer upon my altar everything you've held close, your triumphs and your failures, your highest dreams and your hidden fears. I am not searching for perfection. I am seeking truth. I do not ask you to come when everything is in order. I long for you to come when you can sincerely say, I can't carry this alone anymore. Please, lead me. Open your mouth to ask me the questions you've been afraid to voice. Be courageous enough to admit your limitations, your shortcomings, your falls, not for judgment, but for healing. Because in me there is no condemnation for the repentant. There are only open arms and forgiveness deeper than the ocean. Let me cleanse the stains upon your soul and quiet the accusing voices that rise whenever you fall into silence. And after that, my child, rise. Not just with your body, but let your spirit awaken. Be ready, for a glorious battle awaits. Not a battle of exhaustion, but a conquest of grace. I am preparing a season where victory does not come through human calculation, but through total surrender in faith. And you will be the vessel in my hand. To accomplish what others say cannot be done, this moment is critical. Time is no longer abundant. My return draws near, and I do not want you living weary and disheartened, but awakened, strong, and filled with holy expectation. There are still so many souls wandering in the dark, so many cries rising from the depths of despair. You are the one who carries the answer. You are the one I desire to use to bring life, healing, and deliverance to them. There are miracles I have ordained to perform through you, not through someone else. I could choose anyone, but I desire to choose you. Because the things you have endured, the tears you have shed, the times you knelt in loneliness, they are not meaningless. They are becoming sacred oil for the lamp of faith within you. They are the evidence others need to see that if I can restore you, I can restore them too. Walk with me. It does not matter how many times you have failed, as long as even now you still long to walk beside me. I am not only the one who leads, but also the one who walks with you. Your rest in the midst of the journey, your strength when you are weary, the whisper in your heart when confusion clouds your way. My support is unshakable. It does not waver with fleeting emotions, nor does it shift with changing circumstances. It is eternal, steadfast as a foundation that cannot be moved. Believe this: even when your eyes have not yet seen it, I love you. Not a vague or distant love, but a love carved into every fiber of creation. A love that is not bound by your mistakes, nor hindered by the dry seasons you have endured. I love you not because you do everything right, but simply because you are mine. And now, in that love, I long to share with you the wonders that have been hidden in time, now ready to be revealed in your life. A new season is drawing near, not one clouded in shadows like days past, but one overflowing with light, with hope, and with a profound transformation. The days ahead are not merely a continuation of time, but the unveiling of a destiny, a divine design that I etched into my heart long before you ever cried your first tear. I am drawing closer to you now than ever before, not just to wipe away the sorrow from your eyes, but to replace it with the fullness of joy. Not merely to comfort you, but to restore you wholly and lead you into a completeness far beyond what you once dared to dream. Can you sense it? There are unseen veils I am now removing, layers of dust that once dimmed your vision, clouds that once kept you from seeing the path clearly, weights that pressed against your soul like a fog of discouragement, doubt, and silent shame. But now, I declare with finality, enough. I am breathing fresh winds upon the fields of your spirit, causing dry ground to crack and release springs of living water. I am cleansing every haunting memory, dismantling every consequence you once feared. No mistake of the past holds power over you anymore. No curse has the authority to bind you in the chains of guilt. I have intervened. I have washed you clean. My beloved, let go of the shame the enemy once used to keep your head bowed low. Cease carrying regret as though it defines who you are. For I, the Lord your God, the God of mercy, have spoken. I will remember those things no more. If I have forgiven, who can accuse you? If I have erased it, who dares reopen that page? Every burden that once weighed you down, I have removed from the ledger of eternity. Now, I invite you to embrace this new chapter, not with hesitation, not with half-hearted belief, but with a heart wide open, ready to live fully in the freedom I paid so dearly for you to have. Do not enter the future carrying yesterday's heaviness. Be as light as the bird surrendering to the breeze. For now, nothing stands between you and the blessings I have long prepared. I do not promise a life without trials, but I promise you this: you will never face them alone. I do not guarantee that every door will open instantly, but I guarantee this: the doors I open, no one will ever be able to shut. And you, my child, are standing at the threshold of one of the most abundant seasons of your life, a season of restored peace, a season of healed relationships, a season of divine provision, not only for your material needs, but for your spirit, your heart, and your sacred calling. The promises I whispered to you in the darkness will now begin to take shape under the light. The dreams you once buried, they are not dead. They have only been waiting for the appointed time I ordained, and that time is now. Nothing you have endured was in vain, Not a single tear you shed has been forgotten. They were seeds planted in faith. And now harvest is drawing near. As you walk into this new chapter, my child, let this truth anchor your heart. You are not walking alone. Even when your steps tremble, even when you're unsure whether to turn left or right, my hand remains clasped in yours, and my love, a love unmoved by your performance, unshaken by your mood, unchanging across time, will be your refuge, your strength, and the sure seal of every good thing I have ever promised. There will be days when you walk through fields of rejoicing, and yes, there will be days when the shadows still linger close. But remember this: the light does not cease to shine just because the clouds pass over the sun. My love does not disappear simply because you are tired. My blessings do not halt simply because you walk slowly. As long as you continue to look toward me, to keep your heart open, to trust the guidance of my hand, then nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop the door I have already opened for you. I see you. I know you. I understand even the things you have never dared to speak aloud. And because of that, I want you to know this even more deeply. I love you with an unchanging love. I chose you not because you were deserving, but because you are mine, and I have never abandoned what belongs to me. Say goodbye to the past that has already been forgiven. Close the chapters that hold only sorrow and regret. I am writing a completely new one, and this time you will not just be a reader, but a co-author with me. With each step you take forward, you are entering a new land, a sacred ground, where promises are fulfilled, where hearts are healed, and where souls find their true rest. My beloved child, in a world spinning wildly with constant upheaval, where so many are frantically searching for refuge, answers, or fleeting reassurances from the systems of man, I am calling you to walk on a foundation far more enduring, a living hope, anchored immovably in me. Not in possessions, not in status or reputation, not in the hands of man, but in the unwavering faithfulness of my nature. Know this: when you choose to trust in me, you are not choosing an easy path, but you are stepping into a journey of glory. Steadfast in the midst of the storm, unmoved in the face of sudden shaking. For when your heart is anchored in me, no power can uproot you from that place of divine security. Faith in me is not a fleeting emotion, but the sacred cord that binds you to the transcendent power of your Creator. What matters most right now, my child, is not how you feel, but whether you will continue to choose trust. True faith does not hinge on circumstances, but on the unchanging essence of who I am. Trust is not something you merely declare with your lips. It is something you live each day. When you keep walking though the path ahead is unclear. When you persist in prayer though the heavens seem silent. When you choose love even while bearing wounds. I know that at times your heart grows weary. The whispers, the doubtful glances, the temporary setbacks, they all seem to conspire against your hope. But my dear one, do not let them push you backward. It is precisely in your steadfastness, in those fiercest of moments, that the spirit realm is being shaken, that invisible walls are beginning to crack, not because of your own strength, but because my power is moving through you. I have given you not only life but authority. and that authority does not come from earthly rank or worldly wisdom. It flows from your intimate knowing of me as the Almighty who dwells within you. You have the right to speak to the storms in your life and say, "Be still," and they will obey. Not because your voice is loud, but because you speak from the position of one commissioned by heaven. You can command the panic within your soul to depart. You can tell doubt, "Be silent." You can declare peace into a household wrapped in chaos. You can erect a wall of protection around your mind with proclamations of life. You are not as weak as you think. Within you is the strength of the one who conquered death, who rolled away the stone, and who walked out of the empty tomb. Do not let that power be buried beneath hesitation or fear. Do not wait for ideal circumstances before you act. Dare to step out. Move forward in faith. Let your hands be lifted and your mouth be opened in prayers filled with power. I did not place within you a feeble kind of faith. I ignited in you a flame capable of setting the night ablaze. When conflicts surround you and tangled situations leave you without a visible way forward, do not panic. Stand still in me. Do not allow yourself to be swept into the current of anxiety and doubt. In that moment, remember my words. Remember who walks with you. Raise your hands like a warrior, not one of violence, but a warrior of truth and light. Call upon me. Cry out my name, and you will see. The barriers that once blocked your way will dissolve like dust in the wind. The forces that once opposed you will be thrown into confusion, paralyzed and rendered powerless. For I am not a God who stands distant from the battle. I am the one who intervenes directly. I am the Lord of angelic hosts, the commander of the spiritual realm, the king above all kings. When you call, I do not ignore, I act. And when I act, no power can stand in my way. You are not alone. When you pray, heaven listens. When you believe, the unseen world is stirred. When you act in obedience to my leading, every step becomes a declaration of authority to the darkness, saying, "Light is advancing, and darkness must retreat." Hold fast to your devotion. Do not give up. Though your emotions may fluctuate, though circumstances may shift, I do not change. And that unchanging truth is the solid ground for your soul to stand upon. While others may seek shelter in human strength, I rejoice that you have chosen me. While some place their hopes in earthly power, you have chosen to rely on the one who never breaks his promise. And I, the faithful Jehovah, will not let you be put to shame. Open wide your heart, beloved soul, and receive what I am speaking to you, not with finite reasoning, but with the deep trust of a heart that knows how to listen to the voice of eternity. For when you place your trust fully in me, when you release every backup plan crafted by human control, that is the moment you step into sacred ground where my hand can move in fullness. Let your faith in me no longer be your last resort, but the beginning of all you do. Let trust in me become the bedrock of every decision, every step, every word, and even the things you do not yet understand. When I speak, your soul will feel a touch that cannot be mistaken. A voice not thunderous in earthly terms, but so powerful it silences every external worry. It is a voice that soothes yet pierces, comforts yet awakens, leaving your heart both healed and alert. In a world overwhelmed by noise, where truth and falsehood blend, only my voice remains unchanged. It is like a stream of living water in the desert. like a lamp that never goes out in the mid. When you learn to recognize my voice, you will no longer be swayed by the applause of the crowd or the judgmental stares of others. You will be led instead by the pure light of my eternal presence. I have not merely called you to listen, but to obey. For listening alone is not enough. It is obedience that proves sincere love. And my beloved, I see within you a heart that longs for what is true, what is holy, what is eternal. Yet I also see the unseen battles within your mind, the voices of doubt, the scars of the past, the promises yet unfulfilled. That is why you must anchor yourself in my voice, because if you walk without me, you walk into fog. But if you remain steadfast under my guidance, even though you pass through the valley of darkness, you will not fall. The wisdom I bestow upon you does not come from books, nor from the minds of worldly sages. It flows from me, where there is no shadow of turning, where everything is light, truth, and life. I do not grant you understanding so that you may boast, but so that you may walk boldly through lands others only dare to behold from afar. I do not lead you on paths strewn with roses, but I walk with you over rugged ground, where each step becomes an act of faith. The world will entice you with sweetened words, painting pictures of instant glory and effortless power. But all of that is merely a glittering cloak covering a deep abyss. I do not deceive you with illusions. I offer you truth, even if that truth comes wrapped in tears, in waiting, in sacrifice. Yet, my dear one, every tear shed for me, every time you choose me over the easier path, is never wasted. In heaven it is recorded, and on earth it sows seeds for a harvest no one can steal from you. Hold fast to this truth. When I lead you, every detour, every closed door, every unexpected turn is woven into the fabric of my infinite wisdom. I see you not only as you are, but as you will become. I do not merely heal wounds from the past. I am preparing you to withstand the battles of what lies ahead. When you choose me as your one true compass, then no matter which way the wind blows, no matter how the world shifts, you will not lose your direction. Let my word become your way of life. Do not listen only in moments of prayer. Learn to discern my voice in the most ordinary moments, while washing your hands, walking, waiting in a crowded room, or gazing quietly out a window. I do not dwell only in the holy place. I dwell in every sacred second of your daily life. The question is not whether I speak, but whether you have grown still enough to hear me. You do not need to be the most gifted, the strongest, or the purest to hear me speak. You need only to be willing. Willing to be corrected. Willing to be corrected. Willing to obey even before understanding fully. I do not seek perfect souls. I seek souls that hunger for truth, souls that desire me more than they desire themselves. And my child, I see that desire in you. So then, walk forward, unafraid. Lift your head, not because of confidence in yourself, but because you know who walks ahead of you. Hold on to faith, not because all is smooth, but because you know I work all things together for your good. Learn to be silent in the storm, that you may hear the whisper of my power. And when you hear it, do not hesitate. Act, follow, for it is in obedience that you will witness miracles. It is in trust that you will find new life. I am preparing you for a season of divine movement, a season where heavenly wisdom will pour down like rain upon ground that has endured too long a drought. But to receive it, you must lay down all that is old. You must allow your mind to be renewed. You must let the ears of your soul be cleansed from the noise that leads astray. Only then will you be able to step into the fullness of my guidance. And finally, my beloved, remember this: my voice does not come to confuse you, but to draw you closer to me. Each time I speak, it is another moment of pulling you nearer to my heart. Each time you choose to listen to me instead of the world, you are choosing life over destruction, light over darkness, purpose over wandering. My dear one, listen deeply within your soul, for what I am about to speak will be like the breaking dawn shining upon the very ground you have long pleaded to see transformed. This is not merely a new year on the calendar. It is a sacred turning point in the spiritual journey of your life. In this coming year, the landscape of your soul will be renewed at the very roots. It will no longer be a dry and trampled ground of trials and tears, but will become like a vineyard tended by the steadfastness of your faith and refreshed by the unchanging, enduring love I have for you. You may not see it all yet, but day by day I have been quietly pruning, preparing, and making way. I have seen every seed you planted in secret, watered with tears. Every whispered prayer no one else heard. Every quiet refusal to compromise just to keep your heart pure. Every seemingly small choice that echoed all the way to heaven. And now your season has arrived. This is not the result of random luck, nor a vague miracle spoken of in legend. This is the manifestation of what has already been written in my eternal design. This is my answer to a faith that refused to quit. You once thought the waiting would last longer, but I tell you the truth. When a soul trusts and perseveres, I do not let their waiting drift into nothingness. I am not the God who forgets, nor the one who makes hollow promises. Every word I have spoken has an appointed, sacred time for fulfillment, and your time is drawing nearer than ever before. Open your heart now, my child, to see what I am doing, not only in you, but through you. It is your faith that is igniting new life in your family, in those you dearly love. You may think they have not changed, but invisible stirrings are beginning in their hearts, because I have seen your hidden tears and heard your prayers for them. You have not only desired a better life for yourself, but have hungered for wholeness for those around you, and I see that. I treasure that. The love you carry for your family is not merely emotional. It is a reflection of my own heart, a heart that longs to redeem, a heart that yearns to draw the wandering home. You did not ask me only for personal peace. You pleaded that your whole household would walk in the light. You did not seek only material blessings. You cried out for heavenly wisdom, for true understanding, for a faith strong enough to carry those you love. And, my child, those are the prayers that reach all the way to my throne. I am beginning to fulfill those prayers in ways you do not expect. I am not only blessing you, but making you into a vessel of blessing for your family. They will begin to sense something different in you, not on the surface, but something deeply spiritual, a peace that cannot be shaken, a faith that does not falter, a wisdom that cannot be taught by books. And it is that very presence, my presence, burning within you, that will awaken their hearts, not through persuasion, but through the undeniable fire of my Spirit within you. Keep walking, even when the results don't unfold the way you expect. Your task is to remain faithful. Mine is to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. Remember, good seeds do not sprout immediately after the rain. They require a season of silence, hidden beneath the earth, unseen by anyone, but fully known to me. Yet the time will come when those seeds will rise to the surface and blossom into fruit. And all will know that it was not your strength, but my mighty hand that brought it to pass. Do you remember the times you nearly gave up? Those moments when you thought this faith isn't helping at all? Yet you did not quit. And I saw you. I blessed every one of those moments. I sent angels to guard your sleep when you had no strength left to pray. And now those very times you didn't give up are becoming the foundation upon which I am building a new season of abundance in your life. Don't believe that you need to be perfect to be worthy of transformation. No. It was your longing, your honesty, when you whispered, "Father, I need you. I can't go on alone," that opened the gates of heaven. I do not demand perfection. I search for truth. And you brought me truth, not once, but again and again. In every sigh, in every act of kindness unnoticed by others, in every moment you wiped away your tears and still chose to believe in goodness. You have sown, and now it is time for the harvest. I don't merely want you to survive. I want you to shine. I didn't create you to drag your weary heart through life. I designed you to be a bearer of fire, a light carrier who brings hope into the darkest places. And to do that, I am transforming you from the inside out, healing you at the root, until even your outward appearance begins to reflect the change within. Receive what I am preparing, even if it looks different from what you imagined. For I am the one whose wisdom surpasses human understanding. I do not only give you what you want, I give you what you truly need, and when you look back, you will see. Nothing I did was ever wasted. Everything has pointed toward one purpose: to glorify my name and to make your life a living testimony of restoration, of faith, and of a love that never abandons. So rise, my child. Step forward without hesitation. The spiritual landscape around you is no longer the same. It is blooming. It is budding. It is drawing light from heaven. And while you may think you're the only one who notices, heaven is already rejoicing, and the angels are singing. For a moment of divine revival has come upon your life. Now lift up your voice in a sincere prayer to me. You may pray like this: Almighty God, the one who watched over me long before I even knew myself, today I open my heart before you. I do not come asking for more promises, but to surrender under the light of the truth you have just revealed. Please help me not to be distracted, not to be lured or lulled by what is temporary, so I can lay hold of what is eternal and calling out to me. Lord, I can feel the breath of heaven whispering around me. If Archangel Michael has been sent, then I cannot remain blind in my passivity. Open my spiritual eyes, that I may see what must be seen, release what must be let go, and enter into what you have prepared. Do not let this urgency pass in vain. Lord, if there is anyone wearing the cloak of loyalty, but harboring envy within, expose them before they have a chance to destroy what you've planted in my life. I do not seek revenge, I seek truth. Lead me to the place where your light dwells. Lord, if the one I love in heaven is weeping for me, if they are crying out for my safety, then today I respond to that cry with obedience. Please take my broken heart and shape it into a new one, wiser, more discerning, stronger, yet still tender and full of love. Lord, if there are only 3 minutes left in the spirit realm, then please use every second to transform my destiny. Do not let me slumber in false security. Do not let me continue walking beside souls who are silently suffocating my joy, my faith, and my sacred calling. Lord, if the enemy has set their schemes in motion, if they are gathering my weaknesses as weapons to strike me down, then raise the shield of Michael to protect me. Drive away every shadow that lurks behind me, and place angels at the threshold of my soul. Holy Spirit, I do not ask for an easy life, but I ask for a clear one. Grant me supernatural discernment, that I may see who is truly a friend and who is merely in disguise. Give me the courage to let go of what drains me and to embrace what leads me into wholeness. Lord, today I stand at the threshold of a sacred moment. Help me to say yes. One yes is enough to change the course of a lifetime. One yes is enough to break every chain. One yes is enough to open heaven. Receive my yes, and do what only you can do. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. If you love the Lord, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss the life-giving, powerful messages from God. Together, we will grow in faith and live a life fulfilled in His love. Amen.